Spadea to start the last of the fourth round matches of the bottom draw. Bottom half of the draw.
And that's Richard Krajicek in a nutshell. Just get to the net as quickly as possible and then try to pass that 6'5" frame. He's got great technique on the volleys. He moves very well at the net. He's got a Wimbledon title under his belt, and that's why. If Vince has a weakness, it's probably his mobility. He's not the quickest guy around, but sometimes it's hard to exploit that mobility because he dictates the play. It's very strong off the ground, and it's hard to get that first good shot in against him. You just see there, when he's forced to scramble, Spadea, he's nowhere near the player as when he's set.
Only chance for Krajicek now. Not the sort of start he takes that the Spadea would have wanted. Missed it, and Spadea drops his opening service game in this match, and it's a dangerous thing to do when you're facing somebody who serves like Krajicek.
So an early break for the number 12 seed. The next few games went with serve. We rejoin it with Krajicek 3-2 in front and serving.
Krajicek 3-2 with an early service break in this first set. Serving well so far.
Krajicek, every time he serves a second serve, he faces a very tough volley. He dug that one out well for a big man. Signs could be ominous if he doesn't keep that first serve percentage high. Spadea just shaking his head. He probably expects to win most of the points if Krajicek stays back. It was a good approach, set up the easy volley.
a much fitter Richard Krajicek than last year. He was forced to pull out with tendonitis in his left knee, which later on in the year required surgery last year.
Chris, there's no doubt that tennis players are getting bigger. If you look at the average height 10, 15 years ago of the champions, they're all around 5'10". Now the average height's probably 6'1", 6'2". Krajicek 6'5". Todd Martin 6'4". You're a tall guy. You had some trouble with injury. Seems to me tennis players are getting bigger and big guys get injured more often.
I think a lot of it comes down to the actual stress that you're putting on your joints. I think big guys, or especially my knee joints, were very, very flexible. Had a lot of hyperextension in both knees, and I think you get that from just being tall.
I think too the amount of practice you do as a young kid when you're growing 6, 7, 8 inches in a year. You're actually not doing yourself any favours later on in life. You're putting a lot of stress on joints that are just starting to knit. Krajicek, he's had a lot of trouble with his knees over the years. From ever since I can remember him coming onto tour, they've been a problem. Saw Magnus Larsson the other day against Todd Martin retire, citing knee tendonitis. He's about 6'4". Krajicek floats through a turn, and Spadea, that's just about where he likes it.
See that Krajicek is not going to hang around at the back too much. If Spadea's percentage of first serves is low, it's 48% at the moment, then Krajicek on the second will chip and will use his wingspan to great effect at the net. On the line.
Spadea doing everything right. This is the final pass, but you could see Spadea just pushed that volley down the centre of the court. He really had time to do a bit more with the volley. Good to see him taking advantage of those good ground strokes, though, by coming in.
There's a bit of a brick wall, isn't he, in the forecourt. Spadea didn't really move particularly well to that ball, and the volley was woeful.
There it is, the backhand volley with a forehand grip. Wrist in front of the racket. No strength.
Well, Krajicek continues to put the pressure on Spadea. Anything that is dropped short in mid-court or on the second serves, Krajicek is in on them, and he gets a double break, 5-2.
Does this remind you of your financial situation? Trapped because you need a loan but don't know where to turn? Where do you go when you want to consolidate your existing debts into just one manageable monthly repayment? Or improve your home? Or buy a newer car? Even if you're self-employed and unable to provide up-to-date accounts, or consider yourself to have a poor credit rating, there is an answer. Call 0800 858 858 and Ocean Finance could help you. As long as you are a homeowner, you can get an in-principle decision over the phone now. You'll be under no obligation when you phone. There are no interviews, and no salesman will call. Our loans can be used for any purpose. We will consider all circumstances. So for that homeowner loan, call us now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
Not the best of seasons, you could say, for Krajicek since Wimbledon. He's played 3 events. Lost in the first round of the Canadian Open, then reached the quarterfinals in Cincinnati, and then last week in Long Island lost to Bodan Ulirach in the second round. So Krajicek's form coming into the Open not good, but what we've seen so far, excellent.
The trouble for Krajicek is that the rest of the American hardcourt tournaments, the courts are so slow. Probably 25% slower than here at the US Open. So he'd be serving bombs everywhere else, and they'd be hitting the court and just sitting up and saying, hit me. That makes it very difficult for him. But here at the US Open, they are really coming on.
Second double fault for Krajicek. He's always going to serve a few doubles, purely because he goes for a little bit more on his second serve. So for me, that's acceptable.
Yeah, I agree with you. It actually sounds odd, but for Krajicek to serve a few doubles against Spadea when he's ahead in the count, 30-love, for example, is not a bad thing, because it doesn't allow Spadea to hit weak second serves and get some sort of rhythm and start to see the ball.
Fifth ace, and a pretty convincing set from Richard Krajicek. Number 12 seed, serving well, and again using his favourite serve out wide. I think probably 4 of his 5 aces have been in that direction.
Yeah, but what do you think, Chris? I think that Spadea is running at the serve, so if he doesn't see it early or guess 100% right, it's buy him before he can react. If you're going to take the serve early, you have to be picking it up very early. And that ball wasn't even that wide, but Spadea was so close in, he couldn't react.
Look good from where we are, looking really right down on the line. Let's have a look from the reverse angle. Yeah, side edge. Wally Masur raises his eyebrows. It's a better start for Spadea than he had in the first set when he dropped his opening service game. Spadea 1-love, second set, first set Krajicek.
I just wonder how much... Well, Krajicek played very well. He served particularly well, but I thought Spadea looked a little sluggish, and I just wonder how much of that is due to the fact that he's played 10 sets in his last 2 matches. That really does take a lot out of you. And the days that he played, it wasn't overly warm, but it was humid. We saw a lot of players gamble, cramped, and Medvedev was suffering from a little exhaustion. That must have taken a bit out of him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to loosen up as this goes on. There's the first serve percentage problem there for Spadea, because if he misses that first one, he knows that Krajicek will be all over the second serve. Krajicek 18 winners, very impressive. He had 5 aces, excuse me, and 13 other winners, and a lot of those would have occurred at the net. So it was a pretty impressive set there from Krajicek. Two breaks, 6-2, very comfortable.
I suppose you listen to most players speak, they always want to get through the first week unscathed with not too many, if you like, miles on the clock, and Spadea has run up a few miles already, and Krajicek hasn't, and he's looking the fresher Richard Krajicek. But as you said, Wally, Spadea may just shrug it off a little bit. Love one second set.
I always like that quote of Pete Sampras talking about players putting miles in their legs in the first week and playing too many tough matches and then being exhausted in the second week. Sampras said, you can't win a major in the first week, but you can certainly lose it. Some journos were asking him, they felt he was coasting through the first week, just doing enough to win, not really putting himself on the line, and that was his reply. He's won a few, so he's got a bit of experience over 2 weeks.
39.
I've been at the business end of 2 major tournaments in singles, and it's funny, you have to... Normally you play a week. If you win the tournament, it's a week and it's over in a blur. But for 2 weeks to be so focused and disregard everything else that's going on in your life... Well, the off-pace first serve there for Spadea. He saw that one very early. But it's a great effort from Pete Sampras to have won 12 majors now. Not just physically, but mentally too.
It's what he's capable of if Krajicek doesn't paint the lines.
You can just see there, he takes it so early, Krajicek hadn't time to make the service line. If you've got a young kid that's about to start to play tennis, make sure they return with 2 hands on the racket on the backhand side. It is a huge advantage over the single-hander.
Encouraging signs for Spadea, though, even though Krajicek held his serve, encouraging for this young man here that he's starting to latch on to a few of the first and second deliveries of the Dutchman.
Love 15.
Certainly well supported tonight. Vincent Spadea, the crowd, getting right behind him.
And starting to pick his game up, we think, Vince Spadea. No breaks early on at the start of the second set.
I'm meeting someone, but I'd quite like to freshen up first.
It's just over here, sir. Thanks.
Hello. Best things come to those who loaf. Here's to maximum refreshment, minimum effort.
You smell nice.
Thanks, I've just been to the lavatory.
At B&Q, we'll match any price, even a sale price, and beat it by a further 10%. If you don't believe me, put our price beater promise to the test. This B&Q kitchen costs £1,500. If you can bring us a quote that's even 1 penny cheaper, then we'll sell it to you for £150 less. That's a B&Q price beater promise in action. You can do it when you B&Q it.
It's a strange old night here at Flushing Meadows, day 8. It's a very misty evening. If we look at, from our position high up in the stadium, look at the floodlights, there's a definite fog, almost low cloud level.
There's actually been warnings on the TV of flash flooding for the New York metropolitan area for later tonight and tomorrow morning, so they are expecting some very heavy showers as a spin-off of Cyclone Dennis. Tough for Spadea. You can see he's really trying to charge that serve. But have a look. Serve at his body. He's inside the baseline. That's the result. we see so many great shots from the back of the court these days, but to dig out a low volley like that, hit it that hard and keep it inside the court, it's a great art. It's a good skill, particularly for a big man like Krajicek. I think Spadea's been a little ambitious on return. Krajicek's serving well. Spadea's not quite timing it as he should. Maybe he should just take a little off those returns, make Krajicek play 3 and 4 volleys in a row, as opposed to just trying to crank the winner straight up.
15.
Krajicek's a bit like a right-handed Greg Rosetsky. He just hates it if you serve and volley his backhand. But that's not really in Spadea's repertoire. Best thing to do to Krajicek is take the net away from him.
It's not the type of volley you'd expect a Wimbledon champion to miss. Krajicek's title coming in 1976 when he defeated Mal Washington. 1996 rather. It's getting very late here. Spadea getting stuck into this second set. First set Krajicek, Spadea 3-2 second set. Winner of this match plays Evgeny Kafelnikov, who Vince Spadea has a victory over here back in 1995. He upset Kafelnikov in the third round. No breaks, 2-3.
I think this year's Open is the best prepared that Evgeny Kafelnikov's ever come to New York. He looks as though he's ready to play this year.
Having a word with chair umpire Steve Ulrich. There he is. It was a slightly late call.
Just starting to feel the pressure on his second serve. Spadea has really nailed a few past him at speed, trying to do a bit too much. Digging a little hole for himself here at 15:30.
Left, second serve.
There's plenty of people in the crowd advising Spadea what he should be doing. I'm sure he knows himself. Make the second play, the second shot.
Correction. Ball is good. 40-30.
I think Vinny realised it was good. He was just trying to win the argument, but I don't think it was with any real conviction. That ball right on the line.
Again, Krajicek. 3 games off.
Be disappointed, I think, with that game, Vince Spadea, because he had 3 chances to make a pass, and he didn't make one of them, and that's normally where he's fairly strong.
I think he is feeling a little lethargic due to the amount of tennis he's played in the last 4 days, because a lot of these passes he's just not getting in good position to make them. He's always at full stretch. Planes going overhead at about 3-minute intervals. Pretty good approach. There it is again. Spadea just making him play that low volley, which he balloons. Spadea could really wait until Krajicek committed to one side or the other before making the pass. If any of our viewers have seen Arnaud Clément play over the last few days, and now you watch Vincent Spadea, that is his weakness. A little immobile. If he's not dictating play and he's forced to scramble, he's in trouble.
see he's shaking his head. He's trying to expand his eyes a little bit more than probably they normally would do. He's clearly feeling clearly feeling a little bit jaded. Spadea. See that he's trying, and he's trying to apply what he's got as best he can. Good play. Starting to simmer a little bit, I think, this second set. On serve, Spadea, 4-3. Get the feeling as this match progresses, and the more and more we look at this man, you'll picture Vince Spadea, that if Krajicek takes this second set and takes a 2-sets-to-love lead, it may just be too much of a mountain for Spadea to climb to come back from 2-sets-to-love, considering the amount of tennis that he's played. Krajicek's got to take that second set. It's not a given thing he's going to do it. 3-4.
15 love.
Maybe Spadea has to start to really almost take a step out to the right when he's returning on the forehand court. Give Krajicek the ace down the middle, because at the moment he's getting too many free points out wide.
Well, that's Krajicek's biggest serve of the evening. Or one of 134 miles per hour. Check this one out. This one comes back at probably 145.
I think Krajicek had a play on that volley, just let it go. Probably surprised by the pace at which the return came back. Just some signs here, and the crowd are certainly helping the young American. Just starting to lift his game, making more returns, putting Krajicek under some pressure.
Long.
Crowd like it. I think he was a little lucky there, Spadea. See him make his way up on this short ball. Now this volley here, he didn't know a lot about. It was all frame. Krajicek surprised, hit it well long.
It's definitely starting to get more of a pick at the Krajicek serve, and I feel, Wally, that if Spadea can just get the one break and really get this crowd involved, the tiredness will disappear. You'll be able to feed off this crowd that undoubtedly want to see this young man get into this match.
I agree with you, and the tennis is just starting to improve, isn't it? We've seen Krajicek on a couple of occasions being forced to play 4 and 5 volleys. Always awkward to deal with, these floating mishits. Spadea tried to climb all over it, but you could see there he hit it straight to Krajicek, who didn't have to move, and most players are dangerous in that situation.
Spadea making sure that every serve he hits it with a new ball.
That's a good play from Spadea to come in when Krajicek is on the run on the backhand side, because very rarely will Krajicek come over that backhand on the run. It's usually just a floated slice. In some ways, I actually think it's better for Spadea to be playing at night against Krajicek, because we've talked about there seems to be almost a mist hanging over the stadium. It's very heavy, humid air. And when it's like that, the ball travels a lot slower than it would in the day in the bright sunshine.
Good play from Spadea, who really is gutsing out this second set. Krajicek will serve to stay in it. So the crowd trying to raise the spirits and raise the energy levels of this young American as Krajicek steps up the line and serves to stay in this second set.
Almost every opening point of his service game, Krajicek has gone wide. And I think Spadea was hanging on at that time, but just didn't get the timing right. I think as much as anything, he's just surprised at the speed at which his serve is coming back. When Spadea gets it right, hits the ball so hard from so early, Krajicek barely has time to recover from his service motion.
Going back to coaching status of either player, we were saying that Spadea's coached by his father. Krajicek's probably had one of the longest relationships with a coach, Rowan Gertzka. Krajicek's been coached by him since 1990, so 9 years. Now then, Spadea, this is an opportunity, and the crowd recognises it.
I just wonder, even if Spadea was to cover that serve, whether he could do anything about it. 9 aces, probably 7 of them out wide to the forehand court. What a way to snuff out a potentially dangerous situation. 2 aces at 30 all, that's why he's a great player. Diffuses trouble with that first serve. Just on Rowan Goetzke, he's a Melbourne boy from Australia. He grew up playing tennis with Pat Cash. Didn't quite make the tour, went over to Holland. Spent a bit of time working with the Federation. He had 2 young kids under his charge, Krajicek and Simmering. 2 reasonable players.
Love. Love. $30-15. $40-15. Let for service.
Spadea throughout this set has been holding his serve pretty comfortably, yet to face a break point. And for the second time, Krajicek will serve to stay in this second set. Just coming back to the coaches again, Wally. We were saying that Spadea is coached by his father, Richard Krajicek's coached by Rowan Goetzke. There does seem to be quite a high turnover of coaches at the top of the men's game. Very few players seem to have one coach nowadays that takes them right the way through to the end of their career.
No, and I just wonder sometimes when players are going through flat spots, which invariably happens to the greatest of players, struggle for certain periods of their career, whether the first fall guy is the coach. I sometimes think that players are, it's a flawed, the whole system is flawed. The player plays the coach. The coach always feels a little beholden to the player, and the player quite often calls the shots. Can you imagine it in soccer if the soccer players paid the coach? Coach loses a bit of authority, and he's right there to be fired at any time, and it happens a lot. There's a lot of ex-bitter coaches out there.
So Richard Krajicek serving, take us in to a tie-break.
There it is again, first point of the game out wide to the forehand. You could see though Spadea was probably 2 or 3 feet outside the doubles line trying to return it, so he's hanging on it, just can't get good wood on it.
It's a big serving game from Krajicek.
6 games on, tiebreak.
So we'll have a tiebreak to settle the second set.
I think Krajicek probably has to throw caution to the wind at this tiebreak. Anytime he gets a second serve or the slightest chance, take it on the rise, come in. If Spadea passes him, well, that's too good. That's better. On a couple of occasions in previous games, he was really letting himself be dictated to from the back of the court. That's not his game. He's got to look to take the ball on the rise and be aggressive. He's in some groove on this first serve.
It's such a basic service action, isn't it? There's not a lot of moving parts to it. It's just straight up and bang, straight down.
It's perfect. Right shoulder below the left. Left hip pointing at the ball. And then he just uncorks. That's what happens. It seems like an incredible mistake, but basically you've got half an eye on your opponent watching to see which way he goes, and you're trying to fake him out. End up mishitting the ball.
It's an error that Spadea really can't afford to make. Love 3.
It's the right play from Krajicek. You could see he just didn't quite get enough on it. Sat there nicely for Spadea, but that's what he's got to look to do.
Another couple of aces, and Krajicek will have quite a few set points. I think the last American to win the Orange Bowl under-18 championships. That's the World Junior Championships held in Florida at the end of every year. And he won that back in 1992. So 5-1 Krajicek, second set tiebreak.
Spadea just can't get a handle on that wide serve. The forehand court's been so effective for Krajicek. 5 set points.
Be asking a little bit too much from Spadea, surely, to take both these Krajicek service points. Krajicek takes the second set tiebreak by 7 points to 3 and extends his lead to 2 sets to love.
Sky Sports Extra, a new enhanced channel, bringing you interactive football for the first time. Imagine, you're the director, cutting from normal coverage to this angle anytime you want. Now you can. Simply press the red button on your remote and select the angle service. Another view of the game. We've got it. Have you? Interactive football on Sky Sports Extra. For the first time, you call the shots. See the world your way.
I'm an engineer. Now, to do my job the way it needs to be done means I need the right tools. I needed notebook computers preloaded with a powerful, easy-to-use, reliable business operating system. So I called Dell. Dell pre-installed Windows NT Workstation on custom-built Latitude notebooks. Dell pioneered this direct way, which has made my life easier.
eDirect, Dell. Dell notebooks use Intel Pentium 2 processors.
Oh, it's a great volley.
Picked the wide serve that time, but just sluggish getting to the next backhand, Spadea. And I just can't help but think that the build-up of lactic acid in those legs over the last 4 days is hurting him. Lactic acid's a byproduct of exercise, extreme exercise. Takes about 36 to 48 hours to completely get out of the system. Massage helps, light exercise helps, drinking a lot of water helps. Lactic acid is what makes you feel heavy and lethargic after exercise. And at this level of tennis, you've just got to be so sharp. You've got to be jumping out of your skin and lively and getting to the ball with time to spare so you can make the right decisions. If you're always struggling to get there, the game becomes very difficult indeed. Such a baby-faced Krajicek, hasn't he? Hasn't aged at all. He's been on the tour 9 or 10 years. He still looks the same as when he came on tour.
It's a nice opening service game for Krajicek, and he opens up a 1-love lead, third set. Oh, it's a great volley.
Picked the wide serve that time, but just sluggish getting to the next backhand, Spadea. And I just can't help but think that the build-up of lactic acid in those legs over the last 4 days is hurting him. Lactic acid's a byproduct of exercise, extreme exercise. Takes about 36 to 48 hours to completely get out of the system. Massage helps, light exercise helps, drinking a lot of water helps. Lactic acid is what makes you feel heavy and lethargic after exercise. And at this level of tennis, you've just got to be so sharp. You've got to be jumping out of your skin and lively and getting to the ball with time to spare so you can make the right decisions. If you're always struggling to get there, the game becomes very difficult indeed.
15.
Such a baby-faced Krajicek, hasn't he? Hasn't aged at all. He's been on the tour 9 or 10 years. He still looks the same as when he came on tour.
It's a nice opening service game for Krajicek, and he opens up a 1-love lead, third set. 10:15 at night here at Flushing Meadows. Last match of day 8 night session, and one that Richard Krajicek looks to got a firm grasp of.
Spadea was getting some pretty good support from the crowd in the first 2 sets. When he lost that second set tiebreaker, I hope they all just left for hamburgers and a beer, and they're coming back. He needs them.
One, two, third set. Two break points for Krajicek to give us 3 breaks in a row. Now then, let's see whether Richard Krajicek has learnt the lesson last time he broke. He'll be serving with new balls as well, which will help, and also serving with a brand new restring.
It's a good shot Krajicek's played tonight. Spadea, the second serve, he's run around his backhand and hit the off forehand down the line. He's done that on numerous occasions. Becker plays that shot very well. It's not easy. First serve profile there. Krajicek 60% of first serves in, and when he gets them in, look at that, 83% of points won. So very telling. New balls. Only 133 with the new balls, just long. In that previous service game of Spadea's, at 15:30, he tried for a big first serve, missed it. Krajicek took advantage of the second. At 15:40, tried for a big first serve, missed it. Krajicek hit a winner. I just wonder whether he wouldn't be better advised just to get the 3/4 kicker in, a little like Agassi does.
30.
And then, once they're in a rallying situation, I'd have my money on Spadea. But he gave Krajicek a look at 2 short second serves, and the break ensued.
First wide serve that Spadea's really picked up this evening.
40-15.
Great view there down the lens. Just gives you an idea of how hard it is to try to return a Krajicek serve.
That's a much better game from Richard Krajicek after he'd broken the Spadea serve for the second time, and he races to a 4-1 lead, third set and 2 sets to love.
There's only one Pete Sampras. He might very well be the best player we've ever seen.
31.
I think in a recent poll they voted Labour as the player of the last century. If I'm not mistaken, it was a poll amongst sports writers.
Sampras took it.
There's only one Pete Sampras. He might very well be the best player we've ever seen.
31.
I think in a recent poll they voted Labour as the player of the last century. If I'm not mistaken, it was a poll amongst sports writers.
Sampras took it.
Sampras took it, did he? He was the player of the century.
Yeah. Player of the last 25 years, I think it was.
Sorry, Rocket.
40-15.
Labour had a case to argue. He won 2 Grand Slams. Only player ever to do that. It's been unfair for some of the older players. They turned pro. Labour, for example, couldn't play the majors for 5 years. So he missed 20 majors.
40-30.
Rosewell couldn't play for about 14 years. He's got 7 Grand Slam singles to his name, and he didn't play for 14 years. I wonder how many he was at the top of the game for 20 years. While I'm on this nostalgia thing, Rosewell made the final of Wimbledon at 19 and 39. That'll never happen again. Players are retiring at around 30. Seems to be the age. 30, 31.
Left. First.
Some shot.
Well, we've got Krajicek in isolation, but I think Spadea's gone. He didn't move at all to cover the next. Krajicek just put his hand up. Maybe it was a little net cord that upset Spadea. Spadea targeting the Krajicek backhand. Some players these days play the topspin volley better than they play the orthodox volley. It's all to do with the grips. A Western grip presents a closed racket face. Therefore, when they go to hit a volley with a closed racket face, it would hit the bottom of the net, so they tend to play a topspin volley.
I feel that these are the last few throws of a man that is rapidly running out of oxygen. Just trying to keep the range as short as possible at the moment, Spadea. There's Krajicek's wife, Daphne Deckers. It's taken a while for the USA director to produce her. Normally at Wimbledon we'll see a shot of her once every 2 games.
For young Vincent Spadea, that was the travellers quickly through the air, but there's been no breeze tonight, and that has probably allowed Krajicek to get on this fantastic rhythm on his serve. For a man that serves that hard, Krajicek's at 62% of first serves in and 16 aces, so it's really been a serving exhibition.
Krajicek 2 sets love up and 5-2 up in the third. Well, certainly in the bottom draw, all the people that you would expect to have come through, regardless of all the people that have withdrawn, have come through. Spadea now serving to stay in the match at 2-5.
Left, first serve.
Game is so dominated by ground strokes these days, but there's still a place on the fast courts for the chip charge. Krajicek does it very well on the backhand side.
15-30.
First time that Krajicek's really been tied in knots a little bit in this match.
When it rains, it pours. Everything going Krajicek's way. Net cord there at 30-all brings him to match point.
Oh, that's tough on Spadea. 2 net cords. Daphne's happy. 2 net cords to clinch the match for Krajicek, but really it didn't really come into it, the luck for Krajicek. He was in superb form this evening, serving well, returning well, covering the net as only Krajicek can cover it. And Vince Spadea really sad for him, because he'd done well to get to the 4th round again, but really the matches before he'd got to the 4th round took their toll.